This is Public Access Lost Transmissions Part 4. It's been a couple weeks since we played, so let's do some recapping on where things are at. Last time you did resolve the house on Escondido Street mystery. You did so by simply telling Casey that the Rappapours, in order to possibly escape dangerous creditors or a cult, we're not sure, the Rappapours were able to step into another dimension using a process stumbled upon by Elliot Rappaport. But not all the Rappaports are gone. Elliot Rappaport is still around, even though that mystery is resolved. The house is still there, and something bad has come through, and it could be an ongoing problem, maybe. We don't know exactly what that all entails at this point, but the mystery is technically resolved. That said, Elliot is still there, and you can still unlock Elliot as a reward by answering the stray question over there, which is, how can we lure Elliot to us? We've seen some hints that Elliot is somehow still in the house, and so that is something you can go do if you ever just feel compelled to do so. But the house in Escondido Street, for our purposes, is resolved. You've made good progress on the Deep Lake Lurker. This is the one where we have a local legend associated with some kids that went missing back in the 90s. The most recent was Jessica Stosky back in 1993, I believe, or maybe 94. In any case, you had to figure out, like, if the thing that took Jessica, which one of you, it might have been Ash, I can't remember, but one of you when you were a kid also encountered the Deep Lake Lurker. In any case,
Yeah.
you know there's something there called the Deep Lake Lurker. You all thought it was a cryptid of some sort, a beast, but it wasn't. You were wrong about that. And indeed, Daniel Kwan is the one who told you Jessica Stosky is out there. And so Jessica Stosky is the answer to this question. She is the Deep Lake Lurker. And your question now is, well, how does the lake choose its victims? And if you can do that, if you can answer it correctly, you can resolve the mystery by confronting Jessica and then performing a ritual to break the curse on the lake. That's a complexity 4. You currently have 2 clues on that. You also have, as an active mystery, Zagreus. In Zagreus, this is the one where we have sort of the internet has sort of created a legend here around this video game cabinet. So in Deep Lake, there was a group of kids who called themselves the Styx Society. They all went missing in 1985. And the one thing we know about them is there's a picture with all of them wearing t-shirts that say the Styx Society. And we also know that they used to hang out at the Galaxia arcade a lot. They all went missing. No one really knows exactly what happened to them. But then there's this other thing that is true, and that is that there's this arcade game that has a interesting reputation. People have started to associate it with the missing kids, whether rightly or wrongly, because this video game was manufactured in Deep Lake by this company called Vertex Electronica. And so the internet, an urban legend, has been sort of born from the internet. The thinking is that Zagreus has somehow caused the kids to disappear. We don't know for sure. We don't know if that's true. The only thing we know about Zagreus is that there are some secret levels you can access somehow, and that's one of your questions. But the bigger problem for you all is one of you, and I think it was Taylor, one of you is being harassed by someone on the internet called Atafoy85. And we have actually seen some evidence of Atafoy. We think we may have seen Atafoy last time in the tunnels beneath Deep Lake chasing Ash. And they even said they're not interested in you anyway, Ash and Zachary, who confronted them. Presumably they're interested in Taylor. And so your question here is, who is Atafoy85? Why are they doing this? And if you answer it, you can go confront them about that. It's still not clear how we're supposed to resolve the overall mystery of Zagreus. You don't have any way of doing that yet. The only thing you know about the actual video game itself is there are some secret levels you can access somehow. And that is one of your questions. So you got 2 questions there. You found 2 clues currently. We're going to have a third mystery that we'll introduce when we start, but I do want to check in with the latchkeys themselves. We should comment on the fact that you all have 3 conditions each, which is the maximum amount of conditions that you can have in the game, period. However, having said that, I do think, Amber, I'm going to let you clear the dinner party condition because you did do the dinner party obligation, and so you can clear that one.
Okay.
But Ash, you are still shaken. You have found these tunnels and they're weighing on you. You've had an encounter with the Wanderer. And so that's all a thing. Amber, you still have I Got My Eye on You and A Face in the Sun, also kind of a connection maybe to the big man, the Wanderer. Zachary, you have My Pantry Girlfriend, Haunted, and The Bleeding Spiral, all related to Escondido Street. And because Escondido Street is still hanging out there, I'm going to let you still have these conditions. So, um, and Taylor, you are very, very curious. You are the next victim, and you're exhausted. The next victim cannot be cleared by normal means, and so, but the other 2 can be. So this is where we are at with the latchkeys. Do we have any questions? Anything you want to be reminded of? I did watch the video from last time, so I'm pretty fresh in terms of like what just happened. So if anyone has any questions or wants something clarified, I should be able to help you. Okay. Then we will begin with a day phase. I don't think this is the immediate next day. I think a few days have passed since the events of the previous night phase. So you've had some time, some personal time to kind of hang out. So much so, in fact, that I think, Taylor, I'll let you clear exhausted. And Ash, I'll let you clear shaken. Being very generous today, condition clearing. And maybe the thing that pulls you back into mystery solving is the appearance of a new mystery on your doorstep, so to speak. Our new mystery, if you want to follow along, it's on the tab there, is called Greetings, Travelers. Greetings, Travelers. The house on Rodenbecker Street today was visited by Leona Calvillo and a sheriff's deputy. They said they were looking for Mrs. Calvillo's daughter, Amelia. The Rodenbecker Street house where you live used to be the Calvillo home before they were priced out of the neighborhood, and they thought that Amelia might be there for some reason. Amelia Calvillo apparently snuck out the night before and is now missing. The only clue of her whereabouts is a photocopied flyer found on her bed. It features line art of an elf on a mushroom and the text "Greetings, Travelers" alongside a local phone number. On the back, a handwritten note says today's date and in large bold letters, "Turn undead." The police aren't sure if it's relevant, this flyer, but it does remind you of something. Back in the 80s, at the height of the Satanic Panic, some teenagers were obsessed with a role-playing game called Serpents and Sepulchres. Now, I have a question to ask for my English and German and Austrian friends. Do you know what the Satanic Panic is? Are you versed in the Satanic Panic? Okay. It was a big deal here in the 80s and 90s. Serpents and Sepulchres. They would set up underground SNS games using flyers similar to the one found on Amelia's bed to advertise. You would call a number and you'd get a location and a date. You'd meet in a drafty warehouse or a vacant storefront or a half-constructed house and play all night. Serpents and Sepulchres felt secret, sexy, and rebellious. These teens called themselves the Black Leaf Circle, and the rumor then was that they knew how to perform real magic. The secret SNS games came to a halt when a kid named Bastian Dare went missing. Police waved Greetings Travelers flyers on the nightly news asking for help, curfews were put in place, and the subculture eventually died out. Bastian, however, was never found. I'm going to pose a question to Zachary Fontenot. Zachary, you had an older sibling who was Bastian's classmate. What do you remember about how the disappearance affected them and their circle of friends?
I think there was just following on from that time, there was just kind of a always whispering campaign about these people at school, about how they must have known what happened to him. They must have been involved somehow. And like all of those kids ended up leaving town as soon as they could, just because they felt like the whole, every teacher was constantly watching them. The cops would like slow roll past their house on a regular basis. And it was just like this low key harassment. But everyone in the town kind of thought they were guilty of something.
Now, we do have questions here. You were not actually asked to help out with Amelia Calvillo's disappearance. You were just there at the house where the Calvillos used to live. But that said, it might be worth looking into. It's interesting, this idea that the old underground SNS game might be back. And though it's something of out of character knowledge, I will tell you that the Blackleaf Circle could be a problem. We have two questions here. The first is, where are these new flyers luring kids? It's a complexity 6. If you pursue this, you can resolve the mystery by locating the current location of the underground game of Serpents and Sepulchres, and then convincing the would-be gamers to give it up. The Blackleaf Circle will be an ongoing danger in the campaign if you take this route. Again, that's kind of out of character knowledge. The second question is, where is the layer of the Blackleaf Circle, or whoever is circulating these flyers? It's a complexity 8. You are allowed to resolve the mystery by confronting these people and convincing them or forcing them to leave Degoya County, and they will not be an ongoing danger in the campaign. Now, these questions are assuming a lot, and I think that things will become really different and defy your expectations a little bit as you get into it. But assuming this is a repeat of last time, that Bastion was indeed kidnapped by this Blackleaf Circle group that could supposedly do magic, we'll go on the assumption that they've resurfaced in modern times for now. You have a key here available called the Key of Dungeoneering. Each latchkey narrates a flashback to their childhood, showing a dangerous activity they engaged in and hoped their parents would never hear about. So you don't have a ton of leads, really, except that you've got this flyer that was made presumably in town. You have this phone number, and you know that maybe some kids at the local high school have been playing Serpents and Sepulchres, or have been lured in by these flyers. Who knows? But in any case, not too much to go on. It is what it is. And so let's go around the table and find out what everyone's interested in doing. This might be a good time to do nostalgic move if you wish to clear some conditions. You might want to do a scene that helps you answer yes to one of your end of session questions, or your dawn questions rather. If you haven't chosen dawn questions, go ahead and do so. Or you can continue the investigations or begin an investigation. So let's just go around the table and find out what everyone's interested in. Zachary, since you have the closest connection to the newest mystery, I'll ask you what you're up to first.
Definitely in dire need of a vulnerable scene, I think. And yeah, then I think after that, I'm intrigued by this new mystery.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Zachary throwing out for nostalgic move sounds good to me. Amber, what about you?
Yeah, same here. And I suppose Zachary, well, depending on where he goes, he needs someone to drive him. So maybe we can combine that, because I'm also interested in the new mystery.
Very good. Ash, you were kind of getting started on the Zagreus situation, but before you got waylaid by some secret tunnels underneath the town.
Yeah.
What do you want to continue doing today?
Definitely want nostalgia scene. I'm thinking maybe with Taylor, if Taylor's into that. And then yeah, I think think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go back to see Ephraim,
Back
because
at the
someone
arcade.
moved that dumpster. Yeah, someone moved that dumpster over the hole, and I want to know if it was him.
Okay, sounds good. And Taylor.
I'm also interested in vulnerability, of course, and not what I'm sorry.
The nostalgic move, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, nostalgic.
You are being
and,
vulnerable in those scenes, presumably. So
yeah. I am. And I'm also into the Zagreus thing, and I would like to continue investigating that because the guy gives me the creeps, and I want to find out why he's after me.
We'll start with Zachary and Amber. You said you were going to maybe have your nostalgic move scene on the way to somewhere, or what's the setup of the scene here?
Yeah.
Can use your takes you back things as inspirations.
I'm trying to think what the best route of investigation is for this new mystery.
I mean, we can also start at the house when you want to try to call at first.
Yeah. Why don't we do that? We'll start over breakfast or over coffee.
Sounds good to me. Go for it.
Yeah, so I think maybe Amber comes down to find Zachary in his accustomed position in a big wingback chair with a smoldering cigarette and an ashtray on one arm and a cup of coffee on the other arm. And yeah, maybe he's just like, who was that at the door?
Out of character at the door?
I was thinking of Leona Cavillo and the sheriff's deputy.
Oh, maybe they just left. Yeah, we'll just say they just left. Yeah.
So I'll tell you. And basically, I'm saying, wait, do you think that might actually happen again? That someone is like lured into this kind of game?
I don't think teenagers have changed that much in the last 20 years. There's any opportunity to do something their parents wouldn't like, for sure it could happen again. You know, they never found that kid, right?
Yeah. Have you had breakfast, by the way?
He'll just wave his coffee mug.
No, I mean like real breakfast.
This is all the breakfast I need. Why, you hungry?
Sure, I am. But I mean, you know, that kind of started when I was a kid. I had this kind of toy baking oven, and for some reason it really frustrated me because I wanted to make such elaborate cakes and things, and that shitty little thing only was able to bake like really small and insignificant things. So now that we have like a real oven, why don't we take advantage of that? And I can make you a proper breakfast also.
We got time for you to bake some cookies. Is this what, before we go figure out what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, surely you must like cookies.
Yeah.
So
It depends on the cookie.
Amber and Zachary are baking in the morning. Nothing wrong with that. Love that. Let's angle for our conditions that are going to get cleared. How's the scene progress?
Yeah, I think Amber starts busying herself in the kitchen, and Zachary's just kind of lurking in the doorway, smoking and drinking more coffee. And his entire contribution to the baking is just to refill the Mr. Coffee machine. And so where'd you learn to do all this?
Well,
You
I
teach
taught
yourself?
myself. Yeah. I'm an how do you pronounce that word? I'm sure you'll know. Autodidact.
An autodidact, yeah.
Yeah, so I really had some time when I was young, and I enjoyed reading, especially cooking books, because there were plenty.
You know, the whole wholesome baking thing doesn't quite go with the Lily Munster look. How does that all fit together?
Well, I just like to subvert expectations. And I think cheering you up if I actually succeed, that might subvert my expectations. So maybe we can get your mind off some of those troubling things, and I can get out of town and avoid those creepy guys following me. So it's a win-win situation. What do you think?
You think some cookies is going to make me forget that my ex-girlfriend is living in the pantry of a haunted house? Well, I guess it's worth a shot.
I mean, we can make special cookies, but let's keep it a secret.
Special how?
You'll see.
A little magic crumbled in there, huh?
Yeah, and she just winks.
Fantastic. Oh wait, sorry. Let's keep going.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it feels like a good stop there. So maybe Zachary, you're clearing haunted or my pantry girlfriend.
Yeah, I kind of want to keep my pantry girlfriend around. It's too interesting, so maybe I'll clear haunted. That's
Very good. And Amber, did you want to make a case for one of your conditions clearing?
I think a face in the sun, probably. Because I'm getting away, I'm getting distracted as well.
Okay.
And I've got my eyes on you. That's Harvey Stosky, so I don't think I can get rid of him.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. So you both cleared your condition, and Zachary, you get to stumble on a clue as well. So be thinking about your clue, what that's going to be. It can be for any of the mysteries. Ash or Taylor, who wants to set up your scene?
I could actually set it up if Taylor doesn't mind. But I think that there's, probably like since this is like a family home, there was probably like a little room where that was maybe like a little playroom for whatever family was there, and maybe they left behind some some of their magazines, some of their books, and while sort of going through Ash and his sort of like meandering morning routine, just sort of going through the house, he sort of goes into the room looking through some of these old books, like just kind of like incomplete encyclopedia sets and like Time Life stuff, but then like randomly pulls out a Tiger Beat issue and is just sort of like thumbing through it, and it's like from like 1996, and there's like Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Devin Sawa, and he's just sort of like ogling it a bit. But as part of my move, which is the truth is out there, I get to generate a clue. Actually, I'll let you do this, Jason. What do I find in the Tiger Beat?
Oh, in the Tiger Beats. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. In the Tiger Beat, you actually find, I think you find, very interesting. It has to be usable for all the mysteries theoretically. So I think what I'm going to say is you find an ad for one of the shows that you've seen from the Odyssey tapes. And that shouldn't be possible because there's no evidence of these shows ever having existed. But I think it's actually an ad for, it's a Happy Jack and the Lumberjack and Friends ad, but it's not an ad for a TV show. It's an ad for like some kind of like just some kind of product, some kind of kids product. I don't know what it would be.
Maybe like a doll or something like that, or
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Then yeah, I think that's when he sort of stops and looks at this peculiar ad and sort of standing still facing it. And I think that would be a great time for Taylor to just sort of walk in on him.
Yes, gladly. So I was just walking around because that helps me think, and found Ash in that children's room, and I actually knock and stick my head into the room, like, "Hey, Ash, what are you doing?
What? Oh,
What are you doing?"
I was just going through some of the old books that I found here. When he just sort of like casually shows off the cover of Tiger Bait.
I mean, I can lend you real books if you want. You don't have
No,
to read that.
No, I'm not like a big reader. I just he just sort of starts to thumb through it and goes back to the ad and just kind of looks at it. Says,
I think if you don't mind, I want to change that.
yeah.
I don't want to do that ad anymore. I want instead, I think what's more interesting and more salient here, instead what you find is an article about a teen heartthrob who went missing after visiting his family in New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I'll just show off the article and say, looks like the strange stuff just seems to follow us wherever we go.
Oh my God, I think I actually remember this issue, and I take the magazine from him, but I flip through the magazine, and I say, I think, yeah, I know this issue, but I'm not sure I remember the ad. Not the ad. This article actually.
Well, I should point out as well that because this is something that was given to you by the person who's helping you, like this mysterious person who's helping you, I think probably this issue was like opened up to that article and laid atop your stack of magazines, Ash.
Okay, I'll work with that. Yeah. It's like I've been through this, I've been to this house in this room a bunch of times before, but this was never here before.
Yeah, that's weird. Do you remember this guy? I mean, he looks kind of fancy.
I mean, I used to read them with my sister as a kid, but I read is a generous word. I didn't really read and just sort of looked. But there's just a lot of weird stuff here, Taylor, and I don't know. We're all tied to it some way. Like the tunnels under the sea, and weird guys and hoodies and masks and video games and haunted houses, and at this point he starts to kind of like crumple up the magazine, sort of getting tense.
Oh
He's
no,
talking
not the
about it.
magazine. Wait a second. I wanted to show you something cool. I know this issue, as I said before. Let me show you something awesome. And
okay.
I flipped through the magazine, and there's a review of a mall concert of a teenage pop band, and there's a photograph of the audience, and you can't make out any faces, but I point to one of the blobs in the audience and say, "Look, that's me. I was at that concert."
It's like a Tiffany concert.
Wow. I Congratulations. Was it fun?
I think so. I don't know. I went to a lot of those concerts because I spent a lot of time at the mall, but so I guess it was fun enough. And actually, can I keep that? Just a page. You can crumple up the rest.
Yeah, and he'll start to just sort of tear it out as carefully as he can. But I think as he does, his hands are still kind of shaking, and so he sort of just rips through the picture, cutting it in half.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. But the guy you were looking at, did you know him? The one that disappeared?
I mean, I knew of him. I remember Shane and I used to argue over him. It's stupid.
Did he know him? I mean, in person? It says
No.
you were
I didn't know
family
any of
in
these
New
people.
Mexico.
No, I
Yeah.
was too young.
Yeah, I think it's a pattern that people disappear around here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should.
Oh, I mean, maybe we can just go back and look at the tunnels. That's a big joke, by the way. I don't want to go back in those tunnels.
Oh no, but I mean, I'm kind of curious now.
Well,
I mean, we could like take flashlights and
you could take flashlights. There's if you want that, you could go back to Escondido Street, the haunted house, and go in the basement and go in the secret dark tunnels.
Yeah, but I mean, there must be
all across
another
the town.
entrance, right?
Yes, one that was covered up by something that I couldn't get through. You know what? Have a ball. It'll be great. Be fun.
Yeah, sure. But didn't you encountered a guy, right? Was it you?
Yeah.
No. Or was it Zachary?
No, it was some freak in a hoodie and a bull mask. Said he was looking for you.
Oh, now I'm even more curious. Want to come?
Curious is an interesting word. You're not possibly frightened or scared or hesitant?
Well, I used to kickbox, so I'm good. I think. Okay. Probably. I mean, as long as you didn't have a chainsaw or an axe or something.
I didn't see one, but you know,
pretty easy bar to clear, I feel like.
So we should actually get an axe or a chainsaw or something, or at least flashlights. Can I trigger a move now, or is it a weird moment? Because I have the strange things are afoot. Move.
Oh, what are you trying to do?
Oh, strange things are afoot, Circle K. Oh, you could go to the convenience stores. You probably can't get an axe at a convenience store, regrettably.
Yeah, but flashlights probably.
But if you want a flashlight, yes. Twinkies, yes.
Mountain Dew.
Axe and chainsaw. Yeah. Mountain Dew, definitely. Axes and chainsaws, unlikely.
Plunger.
Fantastic. Let's check in with the conditions. So it sounded to me, Ash, like you were going to clear the tunnels there by basically rejecting desire to go see tunnels. Yes. Taylor, I'm not sure you can make the case for clearing Very, Very Curious because
no, I don't want to clear.
You were being more curious, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And you can't clear the next victim, regrettably. So However,
Oh yeah, true.
yeah, you can't
Oh,
clear that one. Yeah. However,
I forgot about that.
one of you gets to stumble on a clue. You both got your takes you back worked in there. So whoever wants to come up with a clue that you stumble on certainly can. So be thinking about that. Work it out between you. It could be for any of the mysteries. I do
Do
want
you
to
want
check.
to go or should I?
Ash, do you want to do the clue or do you want Taylor to do it?
Oh, I just messaged you in chat. So if you want
Oh,
to
yeah,
go,
okay,
Oh,
good.
got it. Oh, sorry. All right.
Thank you.
Let's check in with the others then. So Zachary and Amber, you are indeed going to go head out and look into this
Yeah,
secret game of serpents and sepulchres. What's your approach here? What are you going to do?
I was thinking first obvious lead, like the only real lead is to call the phone number.
Mm.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, absolutely.
And in terms of the clue, if Michael, if you're all right with this, I was thinking that maybe the secret ingredient that Amber was crumbling into the whatever she was baking is wrapped in some foil, and there's a little sticker on there, and the logo on that sticker is the same elf sitting on a mushroom that is on the card. So wherever she got that must be connected
nice.
somehow.
Good. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
If you want to know some options for where you may have gotten that, I think maybe there's probably a group of like burnouts at the high school who maybe are maybe your supplier, or maybe like might have been where they got said stuff. So that might be one option. Okay. Whoever wants to write that clue down can certainly go ahead and do that.
I'm doing it right now.
Great. And so calling the number sounds like a good first move, Zachary. Let's just do a really simple meddling move roll with reason and see what happens.
See if I can mark anything to give me advantage there. Kick the session off. No, I'll just go straight roll. That's a 10.
A 10. Nice. You call the number and you hear this recording that plays this music, this sort of like synthy, fantasy music. And then a woman's voice. Hello, traveler. Yes, it is I, Saffronina Raven's daughter. I can tell you where the next meeting of the travelers will be held. But first, you must answer my question. At the tone, leave your answer and a callback number, and we'll tell you where you can find us. The question: how many sacred crystals did Ringak Stonejammer have to acquire from the squamous pit of doom in order to unlock the inner sanctum? Beep.
Gabriel would have known the answer to this. 3. It's always 3, right?
Do you give a callback number as well?
Yeah. I guess we have. I presume we have like a house phone in this.
You have a cell phone as well.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely have a cell phone. Yeah.
Very good. About 10 minutes later, you get a picture message, a visual message, if you will, a text message, but with a JPEG attached to it. The JPEG is a hand-drawn map on blue graph paper. That's your clue.
Awesome.
It's not like an obvious map either. It's just, yeah.
Hey, Amber, take a look at this.
You'll have to connect it to a computer to see it properly well, but yeah.
Some nerd bullshit. Check it out.
And what's that supposed to be?
It's probably the map to their magical land with unicorns and goblins and all that shit. I don't know. Maybe it'll point somewhere. Hey, does Ash has a computer, right? Maybe he can take a look later.
Mm. And by this point, have you told me about the sticker, or have I discovered it?
Yeah, I think maybe you
You will
noticed
probably
it.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
So since we've used my special ingredients on the cookies, we could maybe have a look into my supplier, because they might be involved as well.
Your supplier can probably be found at La Fresca Senior High, out by the handball courts, which is where all the losers, dweebs, and wastoids hang out at La Fresca High. La Fresca High is actually the high school that's officially part of nearby La Fresca, New Mexico, which is the county seat of Decoya County. Deep Lake itself is not big enough to have its own high school, so all the Deep Lake kids have to go over to La Fresca. But yeah, little road trip. It's not a long road trip. It's like 10 minutes over to La Fresca Senior High. Sounds good to me. Are you going to go with Zachary?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Ash, you were headed over to the Galaxia Arcade, yes?
Yes.
And Taylor, are you going with, or are you going somewhere else?
The entrance to the tunnel was at the arcade, right? Or
Well, there's
behind
one at
the
Escondido
arcade,
Street too.
the dumpster.
Yeah. There's one at Escondido Street as well. There's two, of two entrances. Because it let out, because Ash was chased
I
to
know.
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I'd like to go to the one at the arcade though, because it's nearer to the arcade, which is kind of makes sense. So I'll go with Ash.
As before, the arcade has this really pervasive smell of dust and old sweat and cheap pizza, the stuttering grind of very badly performing air conditioning units. The line to play Zagreus is not nearly as long. A few days have passed. The shine is worn off. The game is actually not very fun. Like when you play it, it's kind of boring and badly made, actually. Nevertheless, it's there. You do see a couple of people in line still, and Ephraim is not nearly as congenial and happy because he doesn't have as much business as he had before. But nevertheless, it's been a good week, I suppose. Ash, what's your first move?
In a show of uncharacteristic boldness, I think he's just going to sort of march up to Ephraim and say, "Oh, hi, remember me?"
He's like, "Oh yeah, where'd you get off to?"
I don't know. Some tunnels beneath
Right.
the town.
Oh,
Know anything about that?
Yeah. I remember when they were building those tunnels. You went down into the tunnels?
Yeah, something happened. Was really interesting. Someone moved something on top of the door, though, and I couldn't get out. That wouldn't be you, would it have been?
He's like, "Now hold on a second. Are you accusing old FG of trying to trap you down in the tunnels?"
Yeah, I am.
Well, you got another thing coming, Buster, because that's not what I did.
Well, where were you?
Well, I had to get back to my customers.
So then who did it? Do you have security cameras around here that could verify, that could prove that? Because I could have died.
Taylor, meanwhile, one of the kids who's getting close to his turn on Zagreus, he has really thick Coke bottle glasses and all your base are belong to us t-shirt. Legend of Zelda tchotchkes hanging off his neck. And he's getting really close and he's like, "Oh yeah. Finally, I'm ready to make first contact, baby." I mean, it makes perfect sense that an advanced civilization would choose our most sophisticated form of art to establish a connection with the chosen few. I'm very happy to be one of said chosen few.
How old is he?
I don't know, he's like 19, 18, 19. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought like 10.
No.
That's
I mean, you would be forgiven for thinking that, but no.
Yeah. I look at him like and say, okay.
He's like, "Are you into video games?"
Who was asking?
Bart Kincaid. I consider myself something of an enthusiast of this particular electronic art form. As you might have guessed. And he points to his t-shirt and all the shit he's wearing.
Yeah, I kind of guess. And you're playing Zagreus? Have you played it before?
Well, I've tried. I've come back here a few times, and the line was just so long, and I have kind of this bladder issue that prevents me from standing in long lines for
Jesus
a period of
Christ, thank
time.
you. Too much information.
I mean, it's hereditary. I can't do anything about it. I mean,
Yeah,
just
still.
one 32
Okay,
ounce
okay.
Mountain Dew, and I gotta go real
All right,
bad.
so you haven't played the game and you want what now? Why did you start talking to me again?
I'm excited. Zagreus. Have you played it yet?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, go play.
Or have you played it yet?
Oh, me? No. I haven't actually, but I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's a lot of things people say about this video game. I'm sure you've
I
heard
know.
all the stories, and
Yes.
some of them are even true.
Like what?
Well, and here, I'm not even going to make you do the meddling move. He's just going to tell you things. He's kind of going on about like how Zagreus is definitely connected to interstellar travel. He believes that Zagreus is actually a gateway to another dimension, that alien beings are using it to communicate with people, that playing the game is actually some kind of like interactive code language that the aliens are using to transmit. And he kind of goes on and on like this at some length.
All right, you wouldn't happen to be on the Vector Void forums.
He's like, "Oh, well, yeah, I hang out on Vector Void sometimes. Why?
I guess that's where you got all that info, right?
So you're on the Vector Void forums?"
Indeed, I am. Do you know of this guy, Atafoy85? I mean, he was kind of knowledgeable about the game too.
Make the meddling move with
Yes,
presence.
of course.
Yeah, presence and just regular dice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 7.
7. I'll come back to this in a moment. Let me check in with Ash. Ash, you can make the meddling move with presence as well, though for being intimidating, not being
That's fair.
humoring.
The presence you said?
Yeah.
That is going to be a 7.
A 7. Okay, so I owe you a clue also. Let's check in with Zachary and Amber really quickly. So the two of you are heading out to the high school. Love that. Indeed, you can go to the Smoker's Corner, just at the edge of the La Fresca High grounds behind the handball courts. It's pretty convenient. It means you don't have to actually like be adults walking around a high school for no reason. You can just kind of go stay on the edges there. You see long-haired teens smoking and jeering at classmates driving by. One is hiding a flask poorly. There's a sickly sweet smell of flavored tobacco. Some worried speculation about whether or not there will be a draft for Iraq. Let's paint the scene. As Amber and Zachary approach the handball courts, the Smoker's Corner, what cutting nickname or nicknames do they give to Amber as she approaches?
Elvira.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
Marilyn Manson.
Us too, or just the guys?
Yeah,
who are the same?
everyone can give a nickname to Amber.
Black Sheep.
Oh, very good. Elvira, Marilyn Manson, Black Sheep. I love it. One of them's like, no, that's not Elvira. That's clearly Vampira and her lawyer. And Zachary, Amber, what do you do as you approach these kids? You will recognize your dealer is there as well. Let's see. Let me get you a name real quick.
I think Zachary will definitely like say to the kids who are kind of throwing nicknames around. I just call her Lily Monster.
Indeed.
I think Amber responds to the Elvira comments. I wish. Have you seen her
She's
cleavage?
amazing. She's amazing. Your supply is Jesse Herrera. He calls himself the Beast. You see him. He wears custom-made clothing recycled from secondhand stores with leather accents, quite intricate eyeliner, terrible stick and poke tattoo of an inverted cross on his arm. He's like, oh, hey.
Hey, Jesse.
He's like, he kind of steps away from the rest of the group. Did you need some more special ingredients for your baking?
Yeah, but also I've got a question about that.
Okay.
You see, I've noticed that, let's say, mascot on the product. I was wondering if you know anything about it.
He says, you mean my little elf guy?
Yeah.
Make the meddling move with presence.
Let's see if I got any items. No. Oops, dropped my die. Gonna roll again. That's a 12.
Nice. Zachary, what are you doing in the meantime?
I think I'm just like scanning the crowd of kids here to see which are the ones that look like the specific brand of loser that would be into serpents and sepulchres, less of the kind of stoner burnouts and more of the kind of dweeby nerdy ones with
I like it. I'm not going to give you a roll, but I will say that you do you catch the attention of someone, a skinny male youth, not right at the handball courts. I think he's kind of set up a little ways away on the commons, but he does stand out. He is wearing a red and purple lucha mask, like one of those wrestling masks.
Mm-hmm.
Red and purple mask. It's got coyote ears, and he's got a big, huge golden championship belt. And he's set up at a little like card table outside, and he's like giving a speech, and everyone's like kind of laughing at him.
I'll kind of wander over and see if I can hear what his pitch is.
As you get over there, you see that he has a plastic bag full of energy drinks, and we're talking about those rotten energy drinks from 2004, like cocaine and like what are some of the other ones? There was a bunch that got
balls.
Like, balls, all those really rotten ones. This was a thing in 2004. He's got all these energy drinks in a plastic bag, and he's like giving a speech. He's like, "The forces of evil are gathering, my friends. Will you answer the call and give a couple dollars to the people's champ? I have a long night ahead of me. I will need my strength to protect the youth of Dagoya County." Let's take a 5-minute break. Yeah, so Zachary, this kid wearing the lucha mask giving a speech about protecting the youth of Dagoya County, and he's collecting money in a bucket, apparently. And everyone's just kind of laughing and making fun of this kid. You probably would be one of those kids making fun of and laughing at this kid. You might be doing it right now. Hell, I don't know. What do you do?
So who are you wrestling, kid?
He's like, "Not wrestling, friend. Keeping the streets safe."
Oh, you're like a masked vigilante.
"I am the people's champ. Now, do you want to donate to my worthy cause or no?"
That depends. Who are you keeping the streets safe from?
"I'm keeping the streets safe for people like you. People like you who get to live in your comfy loft apartments and pursue your yuppie jobs, while the real people face the dangers of the streets. But the people's champ is a champ of all the people. Loft dwellers, yuppies, and the common man alike."
So you're raising money for like a taser or something? What?
A taser? Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you want to be like my Alfred?
I do not.
My Q?
Your what now?
Q, like gadgets, James Bond, batarangs, all that.
Oh, yeah, okay. My brother would have known what you were talking about, but I was more of a fan of the news.
He holds his little bucket, which is actually like a little McDonald's Happy Meal orange trick-or-treat bucket. He holds it out to you and he says, "Come on, $1. $1 doesn't seem like much, but to the people's champ, it's the gift of a lifetime. A lifetime of safety in Dagoya County."
That's one more punch for one more mugger, huh? And Zachary will fish in his pocket and bring out a couple of nickels and pennies and toss it in the bucket.
He says, "Fantastic, fantastic. You should know this is completely tax deductible. The People's Champ is organized as a 501c3 PO organization.
Oh,
nonprofit."
You got a card I can give to my accountant?
He's like, "Ha ha. Here, you want a balls?" He pulls out an energy drink.
No, but I know someone who might. Thanks.
He's like, I have to ask before you go, what's someone like you, someone in their, I'm guessing, mid to late 20s, doing hanging out at a high school? That's what people in my line of work called suspicious behavior.
Are you going to round me up now, deputy?
Just answer the question, son.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Right, right. Cool, cool. The Constitution, cool. Very important. The People's Champ is the champ of your liberties as well.
That's good to hear.
This is going on like this for a time. Zachary, what are you doing?
Like, who are the people hanging around? Are they taking this guy seriously? Are they
No
laughing at
one's
him? Are
taking this
they-
guy seriously.
Yeah. So, okay, kid, where do I get a stand to see you in action this evening?
That's pretty good. Make the meddling move with presence. Let me take a look at your conditions, though. No, I don't think any of them apply. You can go ahead and roll 2d6.
Just checking what my presence is. Oh, that's 11.
Nice. All right. Let me check in with Amber first. Amber, your clue just comes in the form of you see a couple of kids who might be players of Serpents and Sepulchres, and you kind of see them like you hear them say, "So what do you know about the old missile silo?" But the reason why that gets your attention and why you think they might be Serpents and Sepulchres players is because at one point they're flicking cigarettes at each other, cigarette butts, and like one of them flicks it and just says and yells, "Magic missile, bitch!" and like flicks the cigarette butt at them, and the other one is like, he's like, "Screw that, fireball!" and he flicks his cigarette butt, and so that's your a hint that maybe they know something about Serpents and Sepulchres, and then they begin talking about this missile silo, abandoned missile silo, a weird thing. But that is your clue. But you're actually talking to Jesse Herrera and about this sticker. And he says, I don't know, it's just something I saw and I started drawing it on the packaging. I saw it on this I saw it on the inside of this old VHS tape I found a while back. Weird tape. It had all kinds of weird, funny, like symbols. It was in this purple case, but there's nothing on it. It seems like it's blank. Anyway, this was one of the things that was drawn on it.
Can I borrow that tape?
He's like, yeah, I guess so. Like I said, there's nothing on it though. I mean, but yeah, I can definitely. I mean, fuck it. I'm not going back to class. We can head over to my place right now and go get it.
Sure, I've got some cookies.
Oh, are they special cookies?
They sure are.
Right. Well, I don't usually sample my own supply, but I am pretty damn hungry. Speaking of hungry, why don't we stop over by and he kind of there's a little food cart that's wheeling up to the common area of where the kids hang out. The cart is called Hungry's. He says, "Let's just swing by there, grab some chicharrones or something, and then we'll head out." And yeah, and he is kind of walking over there. Yeah, we'll come back to this in a moment. Ash.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Does the dealer go to school there, or
Yeah.
is it just a random?
No, he's a kid who goes to
Guy.
school there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ash, you, FG's protestations aren't like anything useful. He's just, swearing up and down that he didn't do it, that he doesn't know what you're talking about, etc. However, you'll notice that he has on his little desk there a book on Greek mythology, and he has a bunch of sections highlighted. Sections related to the 3 types of restless dead in Greek mythology: the adaphoi, which are the unburied dead; the aeroi, the premature dead; and the bialthanatoi, I cannot pronounce that, violent, people who died violently. That's your clue. I'll paste that here.
That's interesting. And it makes Ash think back to the thing that he and Taylor found in that issue of Tiger Beat. On the back of that picture that he tore out for Taylor, there was a crossword puzzle. And in every answer to every question, despite whatever the question was, is Hades.
Very interesting indeed. So you got 2 good clues here for Zagreus, it seems. But I owe you a complication on your clue, and this is what it is. Your conversation with FG is interrupted. First, when a person walks in, it looks like an entire cowhide walking into the arcade, except you realize that it's just a costume draped over their body, their legs visible underneath, like some kind of barbarian warrior. And then they're joined by a woman wearing like a bunch of flowy black gown, sort of like flowy black gown and like white face, pancake makeup, white with like black around the eyes, and a raven in their hair, like a stuffed raven. And another figure who is definitely wearing like a green traveling cloak and like boots and a billowy shirt and has a mandolin on their back. They all come in and they say, "Lo, Ephraim Goldman, do you have that which was discussed in our previous meeting?" And these people all look like they're in their like late 30s, early 40s, actually. And FG says, "Yes, it's in the back. I had to go through some trouble to get it for you." And the woman walks up and says, "Excellent, excellent. I was preparing a most dangerous hex to place upon you, had you not found the treasure, but you did, and so you shall live another day." And the one with the mandolin begins playing a little song in the middle of the arcade. FG says, "Excuse me for a minute."
Who are these people?
He's like, just a moment. Back here, and he takes this trio of cosplayers back to the rear of the arcade, where FG has Serpents and Sepulchres, the arcade game. There, a licensed tie-in to the SNS game, and they all they approach it with a certain degree of reverence and awe, but also skepticism. And they begin playing. Taylor, meanwhile, Bart Kincaid sees that group of people walk in. He's like, "Look at those losers."
Lucas talk. So we're saying Adaboy, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Vector Void. Right. He says,
You
listen,
know the dude?
I don't. Attaboy 85, there's something messed up with that person. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but they are super, super effed up. They've been kicked
How
off
do you
Vector
figure?
Void so many times for harassment. I mean,
Yes. Who did they
I
harass?
well, and here he gets a little like he gets a little nervous and he's like,
Oh, come on. I lay my arm around his shoulders. It's just us nerds here.
he says, well, I actually discovered something that I posted about on Vector Void a number of months ago, and Attaboy 85, he raised a big ruckus about it. He tried to get my post taken down, and then like sent me a bunch of like frankly really really uncool DMs. But my findings, I mean, did you know that the Zagreus cabinets, they were all built with wood salvaged from a whaling ship that was recovered from the 19th century?
And how on earth do you know that?
Well, because I know a guy whose friend, whose cousin, whose uncle was part of that. But there's more than just that. They were made of other things too. Some of the cabinets were made with the reclaimed wood. Some were made from sacred desert trees. And then he says, what do you know about La Fresca High?
It's a school, I guess.
Well, I don't know if you're from around here, but people know about generally 1986. The La Fresca Senior High prom ended abruptly when a fire broke out mid-dance in the gymnasium. Over 100 students.
1986, you said?
1986. Over 100 students and teachers lost their lives.
That's interesting. That's 1 year after the teenagers went missing.
Right.
The ones that played here at the arcade.
Right. But how do you explain that people think the wood from the fire was reclaimed from the gymnasium, was used to make more Zagreus cabinets?
I wrapped my finger on the cabinet. Does it sound like wood?
It does. He's like, I'd love to get inside that thing and see if there's any kind of marks that indicates what it's made out of.
Where are all the others?
Who knows? Collectors probably have them, private collections. I'm sure a lot were probably destroyed. Some were probably never even sold before Vertex closed down. You know, their offices, Vertex Electronica, are here in town. They're abandoned offices.
Are they?
Yeah.
Where are they exactly?
Well,
did your friends, uncles, cousins, brother also?
I'd be happy to take you over there. You seem like a pretty cool person.
Yes.
I'm a pretty cool guy.
I can tell.
Do you want a balls?
No, thank you. Okay, yeah, you can take me over there. You don't mind my friend Ash tagging along, do you?
Oh, is Ash like your boyfriend or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh. Yeah, and I can take Ash and you. That's fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
Kind of funny. We were just talking about a fire at a gymnasium and your friend's called Ash. It's ironic.
Oh yeah, that's right. Huh. Funny, isn't it? You're a funny guy.
Cool.
All right. Let me just get Ash, okay? You
The
just
complication, Bart Kincaid is a complication. That's the complication on your
of
clue.
course.
But the clue is the Zagreus cabinets are made from these strange materials. Whaling ship accident, desert trees, maybe from the remains of the burned down gymnasium. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Let's,
I kind of
yeah.
shove him aside a little bit so I can get line of sight with Ash, if that's possible.
Yeah, Ash, what do you do?
Yeah, I assume the complication was the weird group of cosplayers. So I think he just sort of, I think Taylor just sort of finds him sort of like with his hands at his side, struggling to understand what's happening anymore. And he'll turn to Taylor and just sort of walk over to her. I think I found something. I didn't imagine those people, right? The raven and the mandolin.
No, you didn't.
Okay, good.
You didn't. I found something too. Look, this is Bart.
Hi.
Hey, Ash.
Honey.
Hi, Bart. What are you doing? I
was just telling him, no, he was so kind and he offered to take us, that means you, my dear boyfriend, and me, to the old office buildings of...
No,
I shove him aside. Don't listen to him, Bart. Let's go.
He's like, yeah. Don't you want to play Zagreus, though?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Do you have time to wait?
I have all the time in the world.
Or you could just write down the address, then I won't keep you. You know, I'm sure you have stuff to do.
You know
friends
what, Bart?
To meet.
Maybe if you write down the address, I can go. Well, she plays the game with you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool. And
sounds good.
He gives you the address. And he's like, unfortunately, Zagreus is not co-op, but you can watch me play.
Yeah, I'm sure she would be thrilled with that.
Absolutely thrilled. Thank you, Ash. Bye, Ash. See you later, Ash. Bye. Fantastic. Now. Bye. It's off already.
Fantastic.
Well, that turned out great.
Let's go over to the other group for a bit. We'll probably do another scene or two, and then we'll call our day a phase. Yeah. Amber. Joey or Jesse takes you to his house, which is just a block or two away. Do you just leave Zachary or what?
I mean, I'm really trying to cheer Zachary up, so I think I'll try to take him with me, unless he's still like in deep conversation.
I owe you a clue, I think. What'd you get on your die roll, Zachary?
I got an 11.
Oh, yeah. You were kind of asking him like what kind of danger he's protecting people from, right?
Well, I specifically asked him like where I would have to be to see him in action.
Oh, that's right. He says, right. Well, I've been hearing lots of stories lately. Stories about people playing a game. A game where real life and fantasy life blend and merge, and they can no longer tell the difference between what's real and what's fantastic. Some people have even gone missing. So I'm going to be going to begin my investigation of said game and said missing people. And he holds up, he's got one of the flyers. And I'm using my powerful skills of deduction, I think we could probably learn something from wherever these flyers were printed. So yeah, I'm going to copies tonight. Also, I work at copies, so it works out great. My alter ego
That's
does.
real convenient.
Yeah.
And what are you hoping to find out there?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't on shift whenever these were run off, and I'm just curious who made all these copies. I figure they've got to know something about where people are, where this game is happening, where people are supposedly going missing. I've heard there's a girl who's missing. She wasn't in class today.
Huh. Like that kid Bastion back in the day?
You know about Bastion Dare?
Yeah, you could say that.
He says, well, what do you think of this? And here's your clue. He takes you around to the side of a building, and there's a big graffiti that says Bastion lives.
What the hell?
What'd you say, Zachary?
I think he's just kind of, what the hell?
He's like,
And
right. The plot thickens. So if you want to, tonight, Dr. Watson, you can come by copies. We can figure this out.
you know, let me just take you up on that. And then I think he'll see Amber kind of waving him over and, excuse me. Looks like my ride is about to head out.
Right. Cool. And he goes back to giving his speech to the people. Let's pick up quickly with Amber. We'll have a scene at the Beast's house. We'll have a scene with Ash at Vertex Electronica offices, and then we'll have a scene with Taylor watching Bart play Zagreus.
No, with Bart watching Taylor.
Very well.
Mm-hmm.
He will ask you a pointed question about whether you are good at video games and whether you know video games. And once you've satisfied that, I'm sure he will step aside to let you show him your skills. I want to pick up with. Well, let's have that scene actually, because that would probably happen first. The game does suck, Taylor. It's not a good game. It is so bad. It's primitive even in an era when graphics were primitive. This is really primitive. And it's just like a game with a little sprite man bouncing back and forth occasionally, attacking little ghost creatures. It's sort of, the game itself theoretically is about a character trying to escape the underworld or whatever. So you occasionally see little digital bats and little digital ghosts, and it's just not very good. And he kind of gets frustrated. He's like, yeah, this blows.
Yeah, it's really isn't all that interesting. Also, I'm just telling you guys, I lied. I'm not good at video games at all. So
he's like, well, do you want to play?
what do you mean? What I want to play?
No, just here, your turn. You can play.
Oh yeah.
Take a turn.
Let's go. Looks great. Like this button here looks dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it really matters. It's not that the gameplay is pretty disappointing, if I'm being honest.
Is
here, I got a
there
quarter.
like
He puts a quarter in.
a high score thing or something?
Yeah, there's a high score, and whoever got that high score, they just put their initials in as 666. So
Interesting. Okay, I try my luck at the game. Is it easy enough for even for me?
I mean, even if you were a skilled video game player, it's not the responses are bad. It's very badly programmed. It freezes up a
Okay.
lot. It's just not good. That said, you might learn something from playing it. Go ahead and make the meddling move with composure.
Okay, composure. Oh yeah, I have that. No, I don't have that. That's a 6.
A 6. Interesting. We'll come back to this.
Indeed.
Ash, Vertex Electronica is not far because nothing is far in Deep Lake. So you can pop over there pretty easily. Are you driving or are you just walking over there?
Probably just walking over there. He likes to walk.
Let's talk about Vertex Electronica. The building is like, there's just tall grass grown up all around it. And it looks like no one's been there in years. There's a little security fence, easily jumped. It doesn't look like anyone's going to stop you from going in if you want to go in.
Yeah, totally. I think he's sort of trying to be discreet. And he'll look for maybe like a back entrance or somewhere that looks a little bit,
Yeah, let's see if you can get in safely with no trouble. Do the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
He's afraid some rent-a-cop is gonna snatch him up and get in his way.
Okay, go ahead and roll with composure.
Trying to see if I have anything in my items that might help with this, because I'm not the most composed person in the world. Yeah, I'm going to, I think on the way to the to Vertex, I've been snacking on a bag of imported Doritos. Particularly, I think this one is from Canada. It's ketchup flavored. So I'm gonna use that for advantage.
By the way.
That is a 7.
Okay. I have to tell you how you'll be vulnerable, and you have to decide whether you want to keep going or not. The way you'll be vulnerable is... yeah, that's interesting. The way you'll be vulnerable is there's someone else sneaking around inside the building, and they might run into you.
Yeah, I'll keep it.
Just give me the scene, how you sneak in.
So he wipes off the ketchup flavoring on his little like, it's an overly large Harley Davidson shirt, I think. Again, he's really kind of a thrift store kind of kid, but kind of dusts himself off, and then it takes a couple tries. He's not the most agile person, but I think after the third try, he manages to hoist himself up and tumbles down to the ground. He's a little scuffed up, a little dirty. But in that sort of paranoia, he looks around, rushes to the back, and like realizes that it's open, which the adrenaline in him doesn't really register until the fact that he's actually in there, that it shouldn't have been just unlocked and opened. And I think that's when he sort of starts to think that maybe someone else is here.
Let's talk about the inside of the offices. Very damp, gray carpeting, dusted with asbestos, black mold growing in the corners. There's a mess of leftover materials, desks with broken computers, piles of graph papers, scattered notes. Let's paint the scene, everyone. This office looks like it was never cleaned out. What do you see that suggests the place was abandoned in a hurry?
Just moldering pizza boxes, and there's like a can of soda has like, that was half full, had spilled over a like Formica shelf or something, and just the acid in the soda has just eaten all the Formica away. So there's this like kind of rotted away hole. It almost looks like where the xenomorph blood has gone through the deck in Aliens. It's just burned a hole in this shelf.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, there's in the fridge, it was clearly someone's birthday that day. And it's like a half cut up birthday cake, but it is sort of molded over. And even in the darkness and this dankness, it's sort of still retained some of its beauty. Frosting seems to still be somewhat intact.
I think they had a pet, and I don't recall about safety here what we said about lantern veils. So I'm just not going too much into details, but let's say maybe a pet turtle, and they didn't take it with them.
And there's a couple of coats and jackets still hanging on the rack by the door.
Ash, I think you probably will see the sort of main work space, cubicles and workbenches and things like that. There might also be like a subterranean space where they have like actual like more like machinery and like things where the actual cabinets would have been assembled. There's also a break room on the ground floor as well. What do you do?
Yeah, I think he's sort of just realizing how moist and dank everything is. He just sort of has his shirt over his nose and his mouth, and it's just sort of walking around, lurching about. But I think that he's just going to try and see if like there's like a main office, like like a CEO office, or like someone like a bigger office that might have belonged to someone in charge, and just sort of start poking around in there.
Yeah, you can find such an office and go ahead and make the meddling move with reason.
That is a 9.
Fantastic. We'll come back to this. Amber and Zachary, you're at Jesse Herrera's house. He's like, my dad's not here, so it's cool. Come on in. And he kind of takes you in. He's like, yeah, here's that tape. And he grabs, it's an Odyssey tape. He's got an Odyssey tape and he gives it to you. The label on the tape is the label on the tape is Neighborly Living 03 cooking for your Neighborly Living 03 cooking for your community, pure white extreme. That's the label. He says it's kind of weird. I don't really know what that means, especially because the tape is blank. But anyway,
where did you get this?
He's like, yeah, well, so it's it's kind of a funny story, actually. There's this man that used to come by here sometimes, and he put it in my hand and said I might want to take a look at it, but like I said, it's blank. He's just playing some kind of joke.
And I guess you don't remember TV Odyssey, huh?
Nope. Is that like some kind of game show or something?
Yeah, I figured as much.
Right.
Well, thanks for the tape.
So one more thing is that, and she tries to imitate Columbo, but does a poor job. And what about that man? Was there anything unusual about him?
Out of character, you saw Big Man, right? You met him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
Zachary
she is
Yeah.
curious.
He says, yeah, well, this guy, he used to hang out with me and the other smokers at the handball courts. He was really big, big dude. Cowboy hat. He wore a suit, even though like it would be like blazing hot. He was a weird dude. I thought maybe he was like some kind of cop or something when we first saw him, but no, he just wanted to hang out and smoke. He puts him away. The guy must go through 3 or 4 packs a day, easy. Weird guy. Says a lot of weird shit.
Bolo tie
Yeah,
of a son.
that's him. You met him? You know who he is?
I don't. Well, I've met him, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah. He kept
Freaked me out.
trying to encourage us to, I don't know, like he wanted us to go looking into things. Like he thought our time was better spent being, I don't know what he thought. Like maybe all of us were like, needed something to do, some kind of direction in our lives.
That wrestler kid.
The people's champ.
That's the one.
Yeah, he's harmless.
Well,
You know, for some reason I thought I'd stick out in this town, but I like it. There's so many freaks.
Yeah, you're practically normal. You're just, honestly, the only person who really sticks out is you, bud, to Zachary. We don't usually get the button-down type here in Goya County.
was that what you think I am?
No judgment over here, man. Just that you seem a little uptight. That's all.
Yeah, and that's why I make the cookies. So sit down, everyone. Make yourself comfortable.
He does. He's like, let's do it. And he sits down and, yeah.
Does Zachary join us?
Oh, yeah, sure.
There's your day phase. Let's go. Let's go back over to Taylor. Taylor, you got 6. No clue.
Yes.
And furthermore, this woman, this middle-aged woman with the raven on her shoulder, she just appears. She's just there, standing by you. And she says, I happen to overhear discussion of the terrible fire from 1986, and I wonder to myself, who are these people who speak of such dark times, such terrible incidents? I was there, you know.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, I was there. I almost didn't escape. I was almost one of the victims. But fortunately,
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, just keep talking. Yeah, that's
fortunately, I was able to open up a door that allowed me to step between realities and to safety.
Very good.
There are things about that fire that people won't tell you. For example, not all of the victims died of burns or smoke inhalation. Several died from blunt force trauma. Some from wounds that suggested an animal attack. One was decapitated.
For real?
Oh, yes. For real.
And how do you know that if it's not like public knowledge?
Because I have the ability to look where one cannot normally look. I have the ability to extend my consciousness into realms that normal eyes cannot see.
Cool. And how did that come about?
She puts her hands on Bart's shoulders. And she's looking over him and looking at you. And she says, "Do you mind if I take your friend away with me?"
Not at all. Take him to whatever reality you want. I mean, look, Bart, a woman is interested in you. First contact. Am I right?
And the other two come over and they just like, all three of them take Bart away out of the arcade. He's like, he seems confused, like he doesn't know what's going on. And they leave you there.
Awesome. Okay. Bye.
Let's check in with Ash one more time, and then that will wrap our day phase. Ash, what'd you get on your die roll?
I got a 9.
Mm-hmm. So as you're walking around this office, you see posters of other Vertex Electronica games. There's Snackman from 1981, Mrs. Snackman from 1982, Mouse Puncher. There's a game called The Astral Void, which you don't actually remember. I don't know how much you know video games, Ash. There's a poster for Zagreus, Mouse Puncher 2, The Return of King Rat, of course. Warriors of History, riding the fighting game boom of 93. Warriors of History 2, Warriors of the Future, and others. In any case, you're looking around, you see these posters, and going through things. You actually find another poster of sorts hanging on the wall. It is the drawing of a labyrinth, a really complex maze pinned up on the wall. And if you investigate it further, you'll see that there are actually a number of other labyrinth drawings behind it, pinned up behind it, different versions of the same labyrinth. That's your clue. And then you hear a voice. "Hey, who are you?"
What?
He's like,
What do I see?
you see a man in a brown canvas jacket, nicotine-stained teeth and fingers, very greasy hair and tired eyes. He says, we got to get out of here. Sheriff Bill's on the way. Let's go."
What? Who? What? Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
"I'm Tim Crayley. I run the Me and My self-storage."
What are you doing here?
"Well, I was trying to find another one of those Zagreus games. I heard that I practically gave away an invaluable priceless treasure for free in a fucking lot auction. I'm not making that mistake again."
Yeah. There's a back entrance here that I came through. It seems pretty safe.
"Well, we got to go. Come on, let's go. Let's get out of here."
And yeah.
"What are you
we'll
doing
start
here?"
I
"What am I doing here?" "I don't know. Come on, man. Let's go."
Okay. Yeah, he'll start to go towards the entrance that he came in through.
Indeed. You can come back here, but we're good for now.
Yeah.
That concludes our day phase. Let's go over to the dawn. No, dusk. What am I talking about? All right, dusk phase. Well, you all have a tape. You're going to watch it. You have a couple places to watch it. There's Escondido Street, Rodenbecker Street. You know of a VHS machine at camp, too, in Loon Cabin.
Yeah, did we don't know. I mean, like, I'm kind of torn because, like, we've got 3 mysteries and not enough clues for any of them right now. I guess we have enough clues for Zagreus.
We've been kind of spreading ourselves a little thin, yeah.
Yeah.
We could watch the tape at the camp and see if we spot the monster there.
You have kind of
Something.
ignored the camp today. It might be good to get back there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we watch the tape, and while we wait for the deep lake lurker to attack or something.
I mean, I'm kind of just, I mean, I love watching the tape, but I feel like I'm kind of wanting to do more investigating.
Not everyone has to watch the tape. The tape can be
Mhm.
watched out of character.
Okay,
okay.
so we can still split, because I thought like maybe Zachary wants to go to copy.
I do, yeah. Yeah.
So Zachary's going to go to copy copies. Ash, what are you going to do?
I was gonna. I figured it might be a nice segue just to like talk to the this Tim guy, and maybe have the night phase like sort of like just hanging out at his.
At me and my self storage.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sounds good. So Taylor and Amber, what are you going to do?
Watch the tape at the camp. That's what I
On your
would
own.
like to do.
So Taylor's watching the camp at Loon Cabin. Amber, what are you doing?
I mean, she's probably just high, wandering around the city.
Okay, that sounds good. Just very safe activity. Zachary left you
Yeah,
to.
good use
Yeah.
of a night phase.
Yeah.
Here, go wander about, hi friend.
I mean, or I can
Store.
just go with
No, that's
with
good. No,
Zachary.
there are other there you know, you might see those flyers around too. Like there might be more of those flyers in windows and things, so you can maybe follow up on more of the greetings travelers
Yeah.
flyers. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Tape is getting watched then. I guess it's probably a little too early to answer questions on any of these. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, we've got enough that we could answer the who is Attafoy, but
you could, yeah.
I don't really have any theories.
And
So unless anyone has any.
so how's the question phrased exactly?
I was thinking it was that kid that Taylor was talking to with the milk bottle glasses and the he is Attafoy,
Yeah.
but I don't really have anything to back that up. That was just a.
It wasn't threatening enough, but maybe, I mean, the guy, the cosplayers wore weird costumes, and the dude Ash encountered in the sewers or tunnels also had a weird mask. So
I have a
maybe
theory,
there's a
actually.
connection.
Looking at the clues, I think that it might be Hutch Langley.
Oh, one of the missing kids from Stick Society? Okay.
Yeah. I think that he went missing for whatever reason. We could determine that later, but he's somehow come back, and he is, at least big enough to be imposing and be online. But the thing that kickstarted it was the Walkman. But I think that if we sort of look at the article about the dead, we think that Hutch was never buried. He might even be some sort of like, reanimated corpse or zombie or something, or, some sort of entity that's between life and death. But because he was never buried, his body was just sort of taken away from the plane and his life was sort of taken. It could be tied to that. Did it ever say how old he was when he disappeared?
They were like high school kids in 85.
So then maybe he was a part of that fire in the gymnasium. Maybe he had attended that dance and either somehow escaped, or maybe that's his connection to it. Maybe like,
well, they all disappeared in 85 though.
Oh, and the fire
year prior to the fire.
Oh, okay. So, well, never mind then. Maybe he was on a 19th century ship. Maybe the repeated drawings of the labyrinth are like his drawings of him like trying to figure out escape routes out of the underworld. And the one that's posted on the wall is the one that is either his exit or entrance into the underworld, one of the two. But the idea that he's been working at this for years and years and years, and he's finally sort of been able to stumble upon a solution to whatever sort of weird unlife that he's in. And then the crossword puzzle for Hades is just sort of like, this could have been his, it could have been something that he entertained himself with. He was sort of like obsessively writing Hades over and over and over.
I think it's a fun theory, but I think it's a stretch to get from Hutch Langley's Walkman to all that. Like, that's the only problem.
I'm not quite sure either.
We would need some extra context at least on like some of these clues to make it work.
Yeah, the only other thing that I had going on with any of those clues is with this idea of the 3 different types of restless dead. And when you think about it, the kids who died in the fire are all 3 of those things at once. They're premature, unburied, and violent deaths.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that doesn't fit to anything yet. But that was just like my little note that I've written down.
Well, maybe the tape in the Walkman is Blue Oyster Cult's "Don't Fear the Reaper."
I think we should sit on this one for a little bit longer until we get further
Yeah.
context on what might be happening here. There's no pressure to answer right away. Okay, fantastic. Let's keep going.
So one question, what about clue Amber got? Something about a silo. How would you phrase that?
Basically, some kids who play Serpents and Sepulchres were talking about an abandoned missile silo.
Okay. So I'm going to write that down.
Do we have any key prompts that need resolved right now? Okay, yeah, no keys returned today. I'll go ahead and introduce the tape then, and then we'll take a break. The tape is Neighborly Living 03, Cooking for Your Community, Pure White Extreme. It is an episode of Neighborly Living. Oh, this is on line 92, in case you want to follow along. This is an episode of Neighborly Living, a lifestyle and home improvement show that aired on TV Odyssey. The episode opens on Paula Palmer, a middle-aged housewife wearing a hot pink blouse and blue pencil skirt, as she arranges a bouquet of flowers in a glass vase before welcoming the viewers to her program. Paint the scene will be everyone. Prompt 2 will be Michael. Prompt 3 will be Natasha. And prompt 4 will be Rob. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do our night phase. So, Neighborly Living. The set is carefully modeled after an idealized 1980s suburban home. Despite this, it's obvious that her house occupies no real street. What shoddy attempt has been made to hide the more glaring flaws?
I think the camera also pans over the kitchen window, and you don't really see outside because there's a poster of a landscape behind that window, and at the very bottom, just a little tiny bit, you can spot the logo of the Degoya Country tourist board.
If you look carefully at each of the windows, you'll notice that not only is the sunset in the neighborhood just sort of some kind of stock photo that's been printed out on a backdrop, but that it's the same stock photo in all of the visible windows. They did not take into account that you could see multiple windows, and so in their effort to sort of save money, they cheaped out and only printed one version of the outside.
Everywhere those images would connect, where they would tag several images together or whether there was any kind of overlap that you could see. If you were looking closely, they have potted plants and they hide all the flaws. I mean, they hide seams of the tapestries and whatnot.
And the lighting is done such that you know, it's pretty low lighting, except focusing on exactly what the camera is wanting you to look at any given time, and the dimness around it kind of is serving to hide some of the shoddiness of the set dressing.
So Taylor, you're at Loon Cabin with Emily and a bunch of the girls and Daniel. Daniel sleeps in Loon Cabin because the boys are mean to him, so he sleeps in the girl cabin. And they have the little TV on the cart with the VHS and all that stuff. And let's talk about Loon Cabin just a little bit before we go any further. Cabin 7, wooden bunk beds built into the cabin walls, crumpled up sleeping bags in pinks, purples, and reds, hair care sets and fingernail polish strewn about, and of course our TV and VCR on the rolling stand. Let's paint the scene. Jessica Stosky supposedly slept in Loon Cabin when she was here. How do the girls currently staying here show that they would rather be sleeping anywhere else?
I think like all of they haven't really unpacked much. You know, they have like a holdall bag each or a backpack or something, and like it's almost like they're ready to grab and go at any time. You know, they haven't hung their clothes up in the little flimsy closet or packed things into drawers or anything. You know, everything's like when they're done with something, they put it back in their bag so that they could just, in theory, just grab it and go as soon as someone gives them permission to get out of here.
Sort of piggybacking off that, I think that they all sleep in their slippers. They're they're not going to sleep in the shoes that they walk around in the forest with, but they did all seem to have some kind of slipper, whether it's like little bunny slippers or what have you, that they always keep on, just in case they need to sneak out.
There's one bunk bed with the initials JS carved in the wood, in the frame, and the children have stripped that of its mattresses and blankets and moved them all as close to the door as possible and as far away from this particular bed in particular.
There's a sheet of paper at the door indicating whose turn it is to keep watch during the night. So there's always someone awake of the girls.
Emily says, oh, thanks for helping me out with movie night, helping me out with the kids. They can get a little rambunctious, especially after they've had an afternoon of us plying them with grape soda and pizza.
Well, it's what I lived off when I started college, so.
So what's the deal with this video?
It's just something that a friend found and he was curious and he had plans, so I'm gonna watch it for him.
Cool. And the kids are kind of carrying on and all this stuff is going on. So the way it is like the front part of the cabin is like where all the bunks are. And then the rear part of the cabin is where the bathroom and the shower stalls are at. Everyone goes quiet when they hear one of the showers come on. Emily's like, is someone taking a shower right now? And she does a quick head count, and everyone's accounted for. And the kids are all like, oh, it's a ghost, you know, whatever, that kind of thing. What do you do, Taylor?
Well, is somebody gonna turn that off?
And all
You,
all
maybe?
the
And
girls
point
are
at the
like
random kid.
the girls, they've all like scared themselves, and they don't want to go in there. They're all too scared.
Are you serious?
Emily's like, would you just go in there and turn it off for me, please?
You're talking to the kids or to me?
To you, to Taylor.
Oh God. Fine. I go into the bathroom thingy, stall, shower stall, whatever it is. How many showers are there?
There's probably like 6 stalls.
Oh,
And
okay.
and all of them have their little plastic curtains pulled so you can't look inside. And it's the one at the very far end that is on.
Yeah, I don't think of anything bad happening, so I just pull aside the shower curtain to turn off the water.
There's no one there. You turn the water off. And then you hear from the drain, hello?
Oh,
Hello?
not again.
Let's cut over to
Not
Zachary.
again.
Zachary, you are at copies. The People's Champ is there, along with Lem, Frog, Cutler. Frog has slumped shoulders, dark bags under his eyes, long, limp blonde hair. His name tag actually has Frog written in marker on masking tape covering his original name. The People's Champ is there as well. The People's Champ, his name tag just says the People's Champ, and he's wearing his lucha mask as well. Copies.
Wear that in here, man.
He's like, this is not the kind of place where we get much strict oversight from management. Copies has 2 self-serve photocopiers up front, one of which is out of order, an ink-stained counter with paper samples in 3-ring binders. In the back, you hear the ka-chunk, ka-chunk of copy machines in motion. Let's paint the scene, everyone. What makes it evident that the Greetings Travelers flyers were made in this shop?
I think they've got a sample of one of them on the wall. There's like, you know, there's like a wall with kind of samples of different papers and examples of things I can print. One of them is one of these flyers.
Natasha,
could you repeat the paint scene again?
Raven's feather.
Oh, how is it obvious that the Greetings Travelers flyers were made? Copies.
I think there's a raven's feather in one of the bins, and you can still see it.
I think that there is a page from what looks to be like a either a storybook or a page from a game book, but it's clearly been cut out. And if you put the picture of the elf there, it would line up.
And there's a bunch of stamps that are in the shape of symbols that were used for the background of the flyer lying around on the table.
Nice. Amber, you're not too far away, and you might actually end up at a particular shop called Tobacco Plus Outlet. They have one of the Greetings Travelers flyers hanging up in their window. Also, this is Tobacco Plus, but it's actually a head shop, so there's plenty of supplies here for other types of recreational smoking activities. all the supplies a tobacco hobbyist would want for pipe smoking or rolling their own. Novelty water pipes make great gifts. They card everyone, so don't take it personally. You do see a bunch of teenagers loitering in the back lot, playing hacky sack. Let's paint the scene, everyone. What about the decor in the shop reveals the owner's long-standing fondness for fantastic fiction and film?
The back office, the walls are plastered in posters of obscure horror movies that he used the facility's printers to print out himself.
There's a shelf with a bunch of miniatures sitting on them, half painted, fully painted, not painted. And even though there's dust all around the shop, they are polished and shiny and not dusty at all.
And there's a prominent displayed set of kind of pipes and bongs and things that are all like dragons curled around a pipe with their claws holding the downpipe, and like a wizard's staff that you would put in your mouth, and those kind of things, that where it's kind of all very kind of fantasy, but like really that kind of rainbow multicolored, really garish style.
Oh yeah.
I think since it's 2004, there's a map of New Zealand indicating all the locations where a lot of the Rings movies were filmed. And it's like a vision board because the owner wants to go there and visit.
Classic. We'll come back to the scene in a moment. And Ash, let's just orient you in time and space. Where were you going to be tonight?
I was hanging out with the owner of the.
Me and my self-storage. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Tim Crayley is his name. Me and my self-storage is a dimly lit labyrinth prone to outages, peeling off-white paint and rusty roll-up doors, the occasional knocking of old pipes. Tim Crayley says, yeah, so, what's, he kind of takes you to the little office area. So what brought you out to the old Vertex Electronica offices? Are you a Zagreus person?
I don't really play video games, but
You look like you do.
I get that a lot. I must give off that
introverted
energy
type.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just never been my thing.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
Right. So.
But yeah, no. I'm out here with some, I guess you'd call them friends, but they seem to be really interested in it, and I just needed to get away from some of them for a minute.
Oh, cool. So you decided to come hang out third shift at the self-storage facility.
Well, to be fair, you did offer to give me a ride, but no.
True. No, you're cool. It's cool.
I thought it might be interesting to see the I don't know, what would you call it, the container that the locker that the game was found in.
The storage unit that Zagreus was found in.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I can take you out there. You know what? Grab something from the vending machine if you want. We'll get it going. His vending machine actually has a bunch of like food products you don't actually recognize, such as snacks such as Razzmatazz, Crispos, Chips Plus, Sneakers bars, Twinks, powdered Dunettes.
You don't happen to have any like real food? This all feels very made
Come
up.
on, man! A powdered Dunette, delicious. He presses a button and just drops of powdered dunettes.
Maybe I'll take a twink and I'll get a twink out.
He's
And
hands you the twinks.
Twinks.
He's like, I knew you'd pick
2
that.
Twinks. Yeah. You don't happen to have any like ice cream, do you?
No. I used to have an ice cream plus freezer thing, but they took it away. You know, ice cream plus so much more.
Yeah. Well, all right. I'm ready when you are. I just sort of
Cool.
start snacking on the Twix.
Let's do it. He grabs his big thing of keys, and we go back to our tape.
So the scene starts with Paula in her kitchen wearing an apron, and she looks straight into the camera and says, "Oh, hi there. I didn't notice you. Don't be shy." And she cuts some ingredients for making a casserole. She's preparing some food, and she says, "Today I'm going to show you how one is expected to treat their neighbors. You know, I'm having my neighbors for dinner tonight." And while chopping, she's still looking straight in the camera. You know, it's my neighborly duty to be hospitable, to be kind, even though if those neighbors aren't always as kind as one is supposed to be. You know, it's important to provide despite their flaws and be forgiving, even though those little brats they call children ask for cookies instead of a real proper meal. And she chops more aggressively while talking, and she cuts herself. Oh, maybe I should pay more attention. And she continues chopping.
We're a little long on time, and so I actually like that as a good place to stop of Paula Palmer staring into the camera, cutting herself and complaining about bratty kids.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We'll wrap up our night phase when we meet up again next time. But I think we're good to go. We're set up for a good night phase. We might be a slightly longer night phase. We'll take our time with it. Let's go straight to Stars and Wishes. Stars and Wishes, whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I think I'll go first. So I really, really enjoyed tonight's session. Well, for me, it's night. And Natasha. The Black Leaf Circle was delightful. I especially enjoyed the whole scene at the arcade where they came in and were ominous, and then how Taylor interacted with Ash and that NPC as well, and you know they are being like all, yeah, I don't want to hang out with that guy, please help me, and Ash is not responding and going with it, and then Taylor's pretty much okay with them or the NPC Bart being taken away by the Black Leaf Circle. So that was very, very cool to see. And I enjoyed the interactions with Zachary as my character, but also seeing you with the champ, and that character is also great. I didn't really read that mystery beforehand, so I was really delighted to see a vigilante turning up and Zachary almost being recruited as the sidekick.
Yeah, my stars are pretty similar. I've never played through Blackleaf or through Greetings Travelers, so I haven't got to experience any of the characters there, but they're so weird. But I love the interaction with Zach and the People's Champ. Because sure, just some guy in a lucha mask selling energy drinks out of his bag. I mean, it's but I thought that Rob, you handled yourself as you probably the best way that you possibly could with that kind of interaction. I liked the little scene with Amber and Ash in the morning. I liked getting to make up a clue with you, Natasha. I thought the clue we came up with was pretty fun. And then Amber secretly being kind of a pothead all makes so much more sense now. And I don't think Ash would enjoy any of those cookies, but I sure would. Yeah, Jason, good stuff with moving all the pieces around. I really liked the strangeness of the trio who came into the arcade and just sort of took Bart away. I'm curious to see what kind of ramifications that'll have. And as sort of a wish, I want to see. I just want to see sort of like how all of us sort of are starting to change and interact with the world with all these kind of increasingly weird things. Yeah, I'm really interested to see those in like either masks or nostalgia moves, just kind of seeing people really sort of like reflecting on what's happening and like processing it.
I really enjoyed that some meme streaks were shown in sessions, like oh, Zachary, we really don't get many people like you here. And Amber saying that's why he needs her cookies. So mean. And then, of course, Ash leaving Taylor with a weird guy. Thank you, Ash. I will forever be grateful. Not. And all the crazy people at the arcade were fun. And of course, like fireball bitches. That was fun. And I really enjoyed the paint the scene scenes prompts this time, especially at the cabin. How the kids they have a night watch rotation. I mean, they're children. How creepy is that? They shouldn't have that. They should feel safe. But yeah, and also the pipes in the form of dragons and fantasy creatures. That was really very cool. Yeah, and wishes. Yeah, I'd really like to see more keys turned, but we are rolling.
You're rolling really well. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I feel like it's time to know more about our characters, right? So let's get those keys a turning.
Yeah, and a quick wish, because I didn't mention one. I think I'd like to interact as a character with Taylor as well, because we haven't really had many
we haven't had a lot
moments.
of Amber and Taylor scenes. Yeah. Yeah, I had a great time. I really enjoyed. I haven't, of all the core mysteries of this game, Greetings Travelers is the one I've run the least, and so it was kind of fun to finally get it to the table. I think this is the first time it's on my YouTube channel, and I really like it a lot. It's. I remember when I was editing it, and I remember then thinking like, oh yeah, some of these characters are going to be really fun to role play, and I was right. I had a lot of fun with those characters. So star to Michael Van Vliet, who wrote this particular mystery. The People's Champ is great fun. Just all these like kind of weird like loser, like I say that affectionately, these like loser characters in this mystery are really good fun. The Blackleaf Circle is very fun. but yeah, other stars, I agree about the paint the scene. The paint the scene answers were really great today, and they really, really fleshed out like what these spaces look like, and they gave me a lot to think about as I was thinking about how to play them out. Um, I liked a lot of the individual interactions I had with characters today. Tim Crayley and Ash was really fun for me. There was a weird dynamic going on there, like kind of a weird judgy dynamic on Tim's part, which I thought was fun. I liked Bart and Taylor. That was a lot of fun. That that very weird. Just that's some interesting dynamics. Obviously the People's Champ and Taylor, or Zachary rather, was good fun. And yeah, and I think that like there's a lot of I think what's really interesting about these two mysteries that we focused on today is even though they're separate mysteries, there are so many natural connections between them, thematic connections and vibe connections. And so it's kind of fun to do them at the same time. And of course, I introduced some elements of each into both mysteries, kind of mixed them up a little bit. So that was really good fun. Yeah, a lot of really good stuff there. Star Michael, for the last tape prompt that you just narrated, I really love that with Paula Palmer. It was very creepy and menacing, and I'm excited to see. That's my wish, is to see how the tape wraps up, because it's one of the more gruesome ones. And yeah, I'm really interested to see if next time we will get Deep Lake Lurker resolved as a mystery. I feel like I think with a little bit of effort, we could probably get that one done. And I'm really curious about this recurring thing about people in drains talking to Taylor. I want to know what's going on with that. And so,
where's the bleach?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to see how it plays out. I'm excited to see more of the Tim Crayley and Ash show, and more of me and my self-storage, which is a major location in the game, in the setting. Lots of stuff happens at me and my self-storage, and more. I'm excited to see more of Zachary. Zachary is the perfect latchkey to be investigating the Greetings Travelers mystery, because of all the people that you have to interact with. Zachary's so different from all of them, and so that's really fun. It's a fun dynamic. I've got some ideas for Frog. So I think Frog and the People's Champ are going to be a great tag team duo against Zachary's sensibilities at the copy shop. So it should be fun. But yeah. Oh, and also the side character who runs the head shop is really fun too. We haven't met her yet, but her name is let's see here. She has such a great name. Missy Donut Van Doorn, aka Missy Von Donut. So yeah, Missy Von Donut will be fun to talk to at Tobacco Plus. Yeah, those are my stars and wishes.
Yeah, I had not read. I was aware of this mystery, but I hadn't read it and I hadn't heard it or seen it before. So I was really pleased when this one came up, and I think the connection to Zachary having an older sibling who was into this stuff it gives me some really rich stuff to play with, how different he and this sibling must have been, and that's going to be fun to bring out in future. Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole scene with Taylor and Bart, and then Ash trying to kind of not hook them up, but leave them alone together when it was obvious that's what Bart wanted, and Taylor very much did not. The paint the scenes were really good. I particularly liked the couple that really jumped out at me were Michael's one with the rotor on the dorm room, as mentioned, but also Jack's one with the these same pictures behind every window. So it's almost like there's multiple. I was picturing there's multiple suns, which seemed quite more broadly thematic. And yeah, I dig the Black Leaf Circle people. They're I'm looking forward to tracking them down, and Zachary being extremely sarcastic about their attire and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm in terms of wishes, there a couple of things that I've been trying to look for an opportunity to do, which is have Zachary do a kind of monologue about something terrible that happened, probably surrounding his sibling, and finally using my move, which I still like keep trying to look for a way
yeah.
to
What is your
interject
move?
that.
What is your move?
It's the one where you can kind of define something to do with real.
Oh yeah, knowing is half the battle.
The
Yeah,
real
that's
life.
that's a free clue. Yeah, I should be doing
Right.
that.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like I've just got to remember at the time when it would work to do that. But I'm kind of trying to be aware of that. So that's like a wish for next time.
Chick tracks.
I think
Say
that's
something
a
about
really
chick
hard
tracks.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic.
Yeah. I've got a question about the black leaf circle. Someone said they knew the reference. I don't. Could somebody explain?
I put it in the chat. But
oh,
yeah,
he responded to that.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's
he did. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
It's a thing from an old chick
response.
track. There was like the.
We had these
like
little these little comics, yeah, that were. Sorry, I cut you
religious
off,
propaganda.
Rob, yeah, they're just
No,
religious
you-
propaganda. Yeah.
And there was one about D&D, and like
Yeah.
one of the characters in it, their character in the D&D game was called Blackleaf.
Right. Yeah.
So that's where
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't see the response.
Yeah, the famously, like the most famous chick tract is the one where it's like it's a comic that depicts like this girl's playing Dungeons and Dragons and she thinks it's all real, so she gets pulled into like devil worship because of it and all this other stuff, and yeah, and her character dies, so she has to die in the real world and all that kind of thing. That was like the D&D's part of the Satanic Panic was very much that. It was like, oh, we're all like gonna, if you play the game, you die in real life and stupid nonsense like that. So yeah.
And you'll think you can really do magic.
Yeah. Except of course in Greetings Travelers, like all this stuff did happen. Like
Right.
in public access, this is all real. Jack Chick was onto something. So fantastic. Any other stars and wishes? Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. Let's wave goodbye to people watching the video. Goodbye, people watching the video.